So welcome to this Facebook Live. We're going to talk about mecfs and solving the puzzle. So thanks for joining me. If you're watching the replay, do just put #replay in the chat. And if you're watching me live, do give me a like, comment, helps other people see the videos. This is going to be an overview, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the value of taking an integrated approach to health. If you'd like the PDF, which is a summary of the slides, then put PDF in the chat and I will send you them. And this is going to be the first in a series of videos. It's going to be like a mini course. I'm going to be putting the videos in my Facebook group. So if you want to access those videos, the additional content that I'll add, I'll release a video usually weekly, and I'll often add some satellite videos, shorter videos, which expand on some of the topics. So if you'd like access to that, do join my Facebook group by clicking the link below. So, key point I want to make right from the get-go is that there are reasons for hope, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. I want to start by just talking about what people with mecfs, fibromyalgia, long COVID want. Obviously their goal is to improve their health. If that's where we are now, and in the future, people want health, energy and resilience. But sadly often what they're experiencing is low energy, symptoms and a limited life. And obviously they want the opposite. They want lots of energy, they want a healthy body, and they want to have a full life. What I notice is that when I talk to people, that some people are making good progress, some people are kind of making progress, but they're feeling it's a little bit too slow. Some people feel like they're kind of not really making much change. And sadly, some people feel like they're heading in the wrong direction to some degree, or even a greater degree. And the problem is, if we don't get our approach to dealing with mecfs right, as time progresses, the gap between where we are and where we could be gets bigger. Okay? And I've had people who've contacted me. I remember one person contacting me about 12 years ago, and this has happened a number of occasions. People have been in touch with me some years ago, and then when they get back in touch with me, it's clear that they've kind of got, certainly haven't got better, but sometimes they've actually got worse. And they're experiencing more symptoms, and it's clear they haven't addressed some of the key factors that could make a difference. I remember someone who first got in touch with me 12 years ago, and they got in touch with me again last year, and we started to work together, and we addressed a number of factors. I believe that there are 9 areas that are important to address, which can really make a difference. And this is what we did. We focused on these 9 areas, and initially this person was working, but they were really struggling every day. And we got them really clear on some of the foundational stuff that they needed to address. And they got to the point in quite a short period of time where they were actually able to play tennis. They were able to work efficiently. And actually I got this person was trying to do too much in terms of work. I got her to cut down the number of hours she spent working each day. She was working about 4 hours each day, but she actually was more productive. Okay, and she really felt that it helped her turn around, and she did say to me, I wish I had worked with you all those years ago. My goal for people is to help them identify the areas that are really getting in the way and could help them move forward. And in order to do that, we need to make a shift, because often people with mecfs, problems they're experiencing is, number one, they're speaking to doctors and the doctors don't have solutions. They feel like no one can help. They feel that people don't understand that it's a real physical condition. They're told that there's no cure. You experience setbacks, and the problem is you don't know what is causing those setbacks. You experience anxiety because you can't trust your body, and it's understandable if at times you feel hopeless. Often people spend a lot of money on a lot of treatments. I did this, trying different solutions. Some things I tried did help to some degree, some things didn't really help. And people try changing their diet, they take supplements and medication, they try meditation, yoga. I learned Qigong, which I did actually find helpful, but I still wasn't as well as I needed to be. It's understandable if you kind of feel stuck. But as I said, there are reasons for hope. And in my experience, in order to have hope, we need to understand that there are different models of health. And there are two models that I'll focus on here. And when we understand these models, so Lynn says hi, Doris says hi. When we understand these two models, it actually, in my experience, can shift our perspective. So the first model is the medical model. And a lot of people, without realizing it, embrace this model. Now, the medical model is very influenced by the work of Louis Pasteur, who developed the germ theory. So the idea is that the germ causes sickness. And if you've watched some of my videos before, you might have seen me talk about this. One of his contemporaries, a chap called Bernard, said, no, the germ is not everything. The state of the terrain, the state of the recipient is a key factor. So, for example, when the water got polluted in Bergen in Norway, not everyone got sick, but some people did get sick and developed mecfs. And one of my clients who flew from Norway said to me, why did I got sick and my husband didn't? I'll address that question. So the medical model is looking at, germs cause sickness, or there's something in the body that's broken. For example, someone's thyroid isn't working, or they've got high blood pressure. And the solution is a medical intervention. It might be taking some medication, it might be surgery. But there's another approach that I think is really important to embrace, which is, so that's the germ theory. And the problem with that is it gives people the idea that they just have to wait for researchers, scientists to find a cure. But the other approach is the integrated approach. And the key point I want to make about the integrated approach is that the goal is to identify root causes. And doctors who are trained in something called functional medicine are interested in asking the question, why? Why is this happening? How do we fix it? Now, I noticed some years ago that one of the ME organisations said this approach doesn't work for ME/CFS, which was curious because elsewhere on their website they said we don't know, what is the cause of ME/CFS. If you don't know the cause, then how can you know what the solution is? So I personally reject that idea that this approach is not helpful to people with ME/CFS. It's sometimes called functional medicine, and I know, and some of you might know, Nicola, who worked with Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, and he is a medical doctor trained in the functional approach. And, she said that working with him helped, and there were other things she did, but she did say that got her on track. So this approach is wanting to understand the symptoms, wanting to understand the bigger picture of health. In simple terms, we could consider that there are kind of 5 key areas or 5 key factors that influence our health. One is our genes, heredity, our environment, medical interventions, lifestyle, and our access to resources. And if we've got those things right, then we can achieve health. But if those things are not balanced, if they are taking us in the wrong direction, then this causes our body stress. For example, if a person's lifestyle is not conducive to health. And my lifestyle, in combination with a very stressful job, meant that I was experiencing a lot of stress over a period of time, and that contributed to me getting mecfs and going off work for 8 years. There are 3 types of stress. There's acute physical stress, there's chronic physical stress, and then there's psychological and social stress. So an example of acute stress is being exposed to a virus. Chronic stress, having a long-term health condition. Psychological stress is perceiving something as a threat, for example, or being upset by something someone said. Now, those stressors and those factors, if they're not in balance, can affect our key functions. They affect our energy production. They affect our thinking. We're more likely to be reactive, and that can cause us problems. It affects our digestion. We're not digesting our food properly. It can affect our sleep. We're not sleeping properly, and therefore we're not recharging. And it can affect our immune function. And this can result in a whole range of symptoms. If we don't address those factors, let's say if I give myself as an example, I was very stressed in the job that I was doing, and because I didn't address that, I ended up getting sick. When I was sick, I was still stressed, and so this created a feedback loop. It was impacting on my health, and there were still lifestyle factors that, even though I wasn't living a full life, I still had the tendency to boom and bust, for example, and this was causing more stress, both acute, chronic and physical and psychological stress. And so this was affecting my key functions. And what this meant is we get this feedback loop which results in additional symptoms. So you may have experienced that you have certain symptoms, and over time you develop more symptoms. And over time those symptoms morph into different symptoms. Is that something that you have noticed? Put a yes in the chat if you've noticed that over time your symptoms change, you've developed new symptoms. It's really important that we address the factors that are affecting us. Lynn says yes. As I say, for me, psychological stress was a factor, and I work with people who recognise that psychological stress is a factor. If that's not a factor for you, that's great. Then you have to explore what other things might help you recover. Okay? So, but if these things are factors, we need to address them. As I say, if there are lifestyle factors that are impacting your health, they need to be addressed. I have worked with a number of people who, for example, have been on certain medications, for instance, sleep medications, for a long time. And it's interesting that the NHS, if you look at their website, they actually say that sleep medications should be a short-term measure. They should not be a long-term measure. And one of the side effects of sleep meds is that it causes fatigue. So they're taking medication for something that is causing the symptoms that they're trying to get rid of. Now, appreciate that it can be, coming off medication is something you have to do really carefully, and it's something you have to do in consultation with a doctor. I do suggest to people that they also consult a pharmacist, because pharmacists tend to know more about the pharmacology of drugs and the best ways of reducing your medication if your doctor thinks that's a good idea. So let's keep going. If we talk about lifestyle, we can break that down into our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to the outside world, and our relationship to others. And we can break our relationship down into further factors, which include our relationship to our physical body. For instance, when we feel good and healthy, then, we have a positive relationship to our physical body. But often when people experience symptoms, they experience frustration and upset, for example, if they overdo it and are having a bit of a dip. We look at the relationship to our emotions. Some of you may have done my Calm course recently, and we really focused on this. How good are you at processing your emotions, sitting with your emotions? Or do you tend to go to your mind and create lots of thoughts about what your sensations in your body, whether they're emotions or physical sensations, mean? And so, our mindset is very important and can have a big impact on our physiology, our emotions, our behaviour. And then the highest level is the spiritual level. I'm not talking necessarily about religion here. It's more about your outlook. For example, one person's outlook on life might be, the world is a scary place, everyone's against me. Whereas another person might have the sort of outlook of life is good, the world is a safe place, I feel safe. Very different experience. Those two people are going to have very different thoughts going on in their minds. They're going to experience very different emotions. They're going to experience very different physical sensations in the body that can be hindering or supporting their body's attempts to heal. Okay, so if we embrace the integrated approach, rather than thinking we just have to wait, we actually start to look at what does my jigsaw look like? What are the pieces that I need to put together in order to create a plan, to create a roadmap which will help me move forward? Okay, so it's going to be different for everyone. One person might have to work on certain areas more than others, but actually identifying the areas that you need to work on, and really getting those nailed can make a real difference. As I say, this client who I worked with last year, that's what we did. We identified where her weak links were and really started to work on them. So to recap, people with ME/CFS want health, energy and resilience, but they're experiencing low energy symptoms and a limited life. Of course, what they want is energy, a healthy body and a full life. So when I work with people, we focus on these 9 areas. And I've created a video in which I cover 3 things. First of all, I talk about the research that sheds light on ME/CFS, explains why people aren't getting their health and energy back. Talks about what switches your energy off and what switches your energy on. The second thing to do is to focus on those 9 areas. If you watch that video, you can do an audit where you look at those 9 areas and I get people to rate themselves whether they're red in that area. Red is, I'm really not good in this area, I really need to work on it. Orange, I'm okay, but there's definitely room for improvement. Or green, I've really got this nailed. And by doing this, you can see what areas that might be useful for you to work on. And I invite you to do that and to identify some action steps. And if you do that, identify some action steps, take action and make some progress, then I'll be really happy that I've helped you. But the third part of that video is that I'll talk about the Building Resilience group coaching program that I'm going to be starting soon. This is a 12-week program. So if you want, check it out. If you decide you'd like to have a chat, we'll have a 15-minute conversation and help you decide whether that is right for you. Rachel says, sounds like chrysalis effect. I haven't done the chrysalis effect, but from what I have heard about it, I would say there are some differences. So I say I can't tell you exactly because I haven't actually done that program. I don't know if you've done that program, Rachel. So let me know. Anyway, so let me just pause there. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. If you would like to get access to that video, just put the word 9 in the chat and I'll send you that video. Some of you may have seen a video where I talked about the one-to-one trainings. This is a group coaching program, so it's going to be different. So if you'd like the details, just put 9 in the chat. So Rachel says, yes, I did chrysalis effect when I was first ill, and it didn't help me. Okay, one thing I talked about in that video, Rachel, is that people get a chance to try the training. You can do the first module. If you don't think it's going to help you, and by that time we'll have spent about 3 hours working together, then you don't pay anything. And I do that because I want to take the risk away from people. I want to give people the opportunity to try it out. And if you don't feel it's for you, you don't pay anything. Okay, and 95% of people who start the training carry on because they recognise it's helpful. So, okay, so Kate says 9, Lynn says 9. I will send you the link to that video. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rachel, that it didn't help you. I'd be kind of interested to have a chat with you, actually, if you'd like, just to find out what it covered so I can actually answer your question more accurately. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Otherwise, shall we finish with a brief relaxation? If you'd like that, just put a yes in the chat. Let me know. Okay, Kate says yes, that will do. So what I'd like you to do is to just close your eyes. Obviously, only close your eyes if it's safe to do so. Don't close your eyes if you're in any situation where it's not safe to close your eyes. And just ensure that you're sitting or lying comfortably. You may want to uncross your legs, and you can adjust your posture whenever you choose. I'd like you just to spend a moment just having an awareness of your environment. What you'd see when your eyes are open. The colours, the shapes, the textures. Just have that awareness. Of your environment. Now bring your awareness to any sounds that you hear other than the sound of my voice. You may notice sounds that come and go, sounds that are close by, sounds in the distance. And you can just let any sounds that you don't need to pay attention to wash over you. And now as you bring your awareness to your physical body, I invite you just to notice the position of your arms and legs, the contact between your body and any surfaces touching your body. I'd like you just to consider that by going through those 3 steps, focusing on the things that you see, You might spend a bit of time just thinking of 3 things in your environment, just picturing them one by one, noticing the colour, shape, texture. You might then just notice 3 sounds, focusing on each one for a moment. And then focusing on 3 physical sensations, one at a time. And by doing that, you're just allowing your mind and body to slow down and relax. So if you like, you can carry on resting, or when you're ready, you can just open your eyes and bring yourself back. And we literally just did that for a few minutes. How did you find it? Feel free to put a comment in the chat. If you've got any questions, do get in touch. If you're watching on YouTube, do like and subscribe to be notified of more content. If you'd like to watch that video, click the link below to request it. Put the word 9 in the message box and I'll send you the link. But for now, I'll say thanks for watching, wishing you great health, and bye for now.